Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Did It Work? My name's Nina, and today I am making the third of 4 recipe requests from the birthday girl, Lexi. Her birthday is actually Monday, October 21st, so happy birthday! And this is going to be chili. So I'm actually going to be making my chili in cornbread, and I hope you guys enjoy this and you can follow along with me. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got to change my camera angles. First thing we're going to do is turn the fire on to medium high and start getting our pan heated. This is what I'm using. You can tell I have favorite pans that I cook with, and this is one of them. And I'm going to use 2 pounds of hamburger. I try to get anywhere close to an 80-20 mix with fat and beef. I'll do 4 types of beans: pinto beans, black beans, chili beans, and navy beans. And I do tomato paste and tomato sauce, and then a bunch of seasonings that will also go into that. And I do actually use packaged chili seasoning. So, newsflash, I do use that. So, let's go ahead and get started. And as I put in different seasonings, I'll let you know what those are. Okay, I'm going to add my 2 pounds of beef in here. Here it's sizzling, so I did wait until my pan got hot. I'm going to break it up a little bit. I am not adding any oil in the pan because I am going to cook this slowly and let the fat just render down. So that is my fat, because I don't want to be draining a whole lot of fat off of this towards the end. I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup of chopped onions in there. You can use fresh onions or dried onions. I thought I actually had an onion and I was wrong, and I wasn't going to the store. So I always keep dried onions, and so we have dried onions. And I'm also at this time going to add my garlic. I have minced garlic that I have in the refrigerator. So I've got one of my tasting spoons, and I'm putting about 2 teaspoons of minced garlic in there. And I'm going to stir this around, and I'm going to let this cook down. And while I'm letting this cook down, I am going to get my beans. And I know I said navy beans, but I went and got my cans, and I have pinto beans. Navy beans would work as well. So I am going to start opening up those beans, and so I will be right back. Okay, so I've got all of my cans opened, and I am coming back and I'm stirring this up a little bit. Now, for me personally, I have it broken up, but if you can see, there's still really kind of big chunks in here, and I like it that way. I don't like my hamburger to be completely minced up in it. I do like to have nice little chunks in there. So this is kind of roughly broken apart. It is hamburger, so it's got to automatically kind of break apart. And now I'm going to start seasoning this. The basics of seasoning, which is pepper. And yes, I do always use a pepper mill unless I specifically need fine pepper. And you've seen me use it before, and you'll see me use it again. My salt, and I prefer my fresh salt, ground salt, and I use a sea salt. And then I'm going to use some more onion powder because I did use fake onions. If I did not use fake onions, I would not have added more onion powder. And I am going to use garlic powder as well. Not as much, but I did use not fresh garlic. If I would have used fresh garlic, I would not have added garlic powder in there, but I did. This is going to be flavorful because we all know I'm allergic to bland. So that's what we're going to do here. I was somewhat surprised that Lexi asked for chili. I don't ever remember it being one of her favorite dishes, but it is Janessa's favorite dish. And of course, that is Lexi's best friend. So I was surprised she asked for it, but I think she asked for it because it is one of Janessa's favorite meals. And Janessa was supposed to be here this weekend because we had an event to go to at Intuit Dome that I had once told you guys about. But the event got postponed. So it's rescheduled until the end of November. So I'm still not going to tell you what it is, and you're going to wait till now, the end of November. I keep teasing this. It's really an event. I really did do something. So, okay. So this is cooking down. And the reason why I know it's cooked down is I really don't see any more red in it. And so that means I'm going to continue to season. Another thing that I want you to notice, I don't have any oil in the bottom of my pan. So I don't have anything to drain. If you got a hamburger meat that had more fat content and there was fat, drain that fat before you do anything, because if not, you're going to have fat at the top of your chili and you don't want to have that. I am now putting in my mild chili packet. On here, it says 1 packet for every 1 pound. You should probably use 2. I only have 1. I'm only putting 1 in, but I do have 2 pounds of hamburger, so I will have to flavor it with spices to compensate because I'm not going back to the store to get more seasoning. Janessa really likes chili, and she's really liked my chili. I don't know why, but she does, and I like that she does. I mean, nothing against it for me. When I went to her college graduation, that was the one thing she asked me to make for her before I left was a pot of chili. So I made her a pot of chili and cornbread before I went back home for her college graduation. This is a meal that is great. I loved making this for my kids because this was a meal that could last nearly all week. You know, I make a big pot of it. You know, they eat some of it with cornbread, and then they would do the same thing again, left over. And then on day 3, chili dogs. We're making chili dogs. You don't need as much chili. You get chili dogs in there, get on some chips. This is a meal that can last throughout the week. So I do love that. Okay, this looks like it's done. You can see how that incorporated that is. And so, of course, you know what I'm going to do. I'm about to taste it. So I got a tasting spoon and see how this is flavored. This is not bad at all. I do definitely want to have my meat flavored before I continue, because I want to keep layering flavors and not layering bland stuff on top of bland stuff. I am going to add some more pepper and salt. A few twists of salt. And then I'm going to check to see what else I have in here that I can add to give myself a little bit more flavor in there. I do have a little bit of rosemary, so I'm just going to add about a teaspoon of rosemary on there. As I put it in there, I rubbed it between my fingers, and I have paprika somewhere that I want, and I'm going to add a little bit of paprika in there as well, compensating for not having that other packet, or if you're short a packet as well, that would work. And I'm going to stir this together again, and I'm going to taste it. Okay, get me another tasting spoon and let me taste what I have. I'm happy with that. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of my beef broth in there and start deglazing the bottom of it. Now I have a 32 ounce. I'm not for sure how much I'm going to use quite yet. So right now I'm going to just put a little bit on there, and I'm going to stir it up and get those brown particles at the bottom pulled up off the pan. So that is my main mission right now. And I'm adding some more broth because it soaked up quite a bit. And I'm going to keep stirring and scraping that bottom. This is why I love cast iron. I know I keep telling you guys this, but cast iron is just so full of flavor. And stir this around. As when you stir it around, you're going to notice that this stuff comes right up. It's not a whole lot of scraping or elbow grease that you have to put in it. It's just a matter of getting that liquid in there, adding a little bit more to stir it, and then just keep on scraping that bottom. And as you can see, my bottom, oh, you can't really see, but my bottom is pretty much clear there. See that? No more brown particles. So now I'm going to go to my next step. That's going to be my tomato paste. I've got a small can of tomato paste. I'm going to stir it around. So just to let you know, and I'll put just a little bit in here. This is the time that if you like spices, to put your spice in there. If that means you have peppers that you want to put in there, put them in there. I do not put peppers in there, but you can put all kinds of jalapeno peppers or any type of pepper. Dried peppers. If I did have dried peppers, I would be putting dried peppers in here. So what I'm going to put in here to give mine a little bit of flavor as I'm stirring around this tomato paste in there is I'm going to put some crushed red peppers in here. So not a whole lot. I don't have a shaker on mine, so I'm putting half of a capful in there because I don't want mine to be spicy. I am not a big fan of spice, so that's how little I'm putting in there. So I'm going to stir this up, and once I've got that tomato paste stirred up in there, I am now putting in my tomato sauce. Tomato sauce is a lot more liquidier than the tomato paste. This is a beautiful color that we have going right here. I love chili. So here in California, as you can see, I've got on a sweater. This is California cold because all the people here keeps telling me how cold it is at night. Okay, so the high today was 80 and it's getting to be a low of about 60, 50 at night. That is their cold. So there's coats getting brought out and stuff like that. Not my cold, but at some point that's got to be my cold too. All right, so we're got to keep it moving. I'm going to do another taste, by the way. I'm going to make sure I've got flavor going on. Still doing good with flavor. First can of beans. This is my pinto beans. Keep my baby spatula handy so I can get all the beans up out of there. Next, I have my kidney beans. These are my chili beans. I do chili beans because chili beans have the chili flavor seasoning in them. So I do 1 can of those. It just brings, flavor profile. You should have known I was going to say that, right? Then the last can is black beans. And I have become a big advocate for black beans. I don't know if advocate was the word I was looking for, but it was the word that came to mind. But I have started to really like black beans, and I don't know why. But that happened as an adult, and it's happened within the last 4 years of my life. So I don't know what happened, but I love them now. Quick rinse on my hands because I got bean juice on them. And then we're going to stir this up. You saw that coming, didn't you? See how much this is, how nice and full my pot is. This is so great in this fall, winter weather. When this weather gets cool, this is what I crave is chili or soups or stews or bisques or chowders. So hopefully in the winter months, because I'm not going to say winter because it said it doesn't really get cold here, I'm going to be making more and more. So the reason why I use so many different types of beans is you see, I'm going to give you a closer look for this. Look at these colors. Look at those colors. Doesn't that make it so fun? It's just so fun to see all those colors. It makes me want to eat it. So I've got all of that in there. And now the rest of the beef broth is what I'm going to be dealing with next. And I'm going to put enough in here to fill up my pan. So that's why I wasn't for sure how much of this I would use, because I use enough to fill up my pan. Then I let this simmer and cook down. And as it cooks down, all of these flavors are going to meld together. And that's when we get that beautiful chili flavor with all those layers of spices and seasonings in there. And oh, I'm not done seasoning yet because I don't want to finish seasoning until I finish putting the liquid in there, because every time you season and add more liquid, you're diluting your seasoning. And so I want to make sure that I can taste the last thing before my chili goes into simmering. So this is going to be fun. Now, I'm going to tell you, as a kid, when my kids were kids, when my children were kids, making this soup would last me all week because, they have smaller stomachs, smaller mouths maybe. But as my kids were adults, me making chili would become a fight because I would make chili, eat a small bowl, put it in the refrigerator. The kids would find out there's chili. I'd come back home and the chili would be gone. One day. And then you start asking who ate all the chili, and everybody says, I only had one bowl. And then you're like, no. This is more than 4-bowl chili right here. And then comes to find out they had a big old Tupperware bowl full. And so then I was always mad and yelling because I was looking forward to eating the leftover chili and there was no leftover chili. So that was always a fight in my house when they became grown. Now you see all this liquid now? This is what we're looking for. So let me put these tasting spoons in the sink and get me another one and figure out what all seasonings that I have. Got a bean with that one. Oh, this is already good. I am not going to add any more seasoning to this. And the reason why is as this cooks, this will actually cook down and all those seasonings will amplify as this simmers down a little bit. So I'm going to turn this to a nice little medium low. And I'm going to put the lid on this and I'm going to let this just cook down for a little bit. And you'll see the juices are going to get a little bit thicker as they go. And we're going to go from there. I'm happy with this. It's not overly spicy. If you like more spice, this is the time to put some more spice in there. Those dried onion, dried peppers, fresh peppers, jalapeno peppers, cayenne pepper, all of that stuff would be about the time to put that in here. I'm happy with this. I'm absolutely happy with this. So now we're going to start on the cornbread, okay? So I'm going to move you. Okay, so I'm ready to start my cornbread. So I use Jiffy. Yes, another brand name because I only use Jiffy. I don't use any other brand. I have tried making homemade cornbread and I still haven't found anything that makes it quite as good as Jiffy. So got my Jiffy. I'm only making one box because it is only me, and I'll probably freeze some of my chili. And as I eat it, I'll make me more cornbread, but that way my cornbread doesn't go stale. So I'm going to keep this box because I'm going to read the instructions on here. I need 1 egg. Then I need 1/3 of a cup of milk. I don't use milk. I use milk, but I use heavy cream or buttermilk. I don't use regular milk if at any way I can avoid it. It's one of the secrets to my cornbread is heavy cream. Getting my baby spatula because I want all that heavy cream. And my other secret ingredient is sugar. So I don't know exactly how much I put in here, but here's just a spoon, a small spoon. So let's just say I put 1.5 teaspoons of sugar in there. Then I'm going to get my baby spatula and I'm just going to stir it. You can use this or you can use a whisk, either way. I have one other ingredient, but I'm going to tell you what it is when I start doing it. So this is thicker than what I wanted. You see that? It's not look like a batter at all. I still got my heavy cream. I'm going to add a little bit of it. And then I'm going to mix. I was just talking to my niece, texting my niece a couple of days ago, and she was talking about, she was making a soup that looked very, very delicious. in one of the pans. Actually, it was just a Dutch oven pan that we're making the chili in. And she was saying how much she loved the pan. And I asked her if she was making cornbread, and she's like, "Well, I'm making a bread, but cornbread is one of the favorite things that you made too." So, V, here's your recipe as well. You can use that. We call her V. Her name is actually Valeria, but we've always called her V. I will not tell you what my kids call her because I don't know if it's ever been a name that she was ever fond of, but I always call her V. And then her daughter I call Z, so we got V and Z, Valeria and Zaria. All right, so this looks more like a consistency of a batter for me. You see that? So I am going to let that set. And now it is good to let it set for a little bit. I don't know why, but I heard it on a talk show. And how I make myself let it set is you never heard me turn the oven on. So I'm going to let the oven heat up while this sets. So it says 400. So let me turn the oven on to 400. I am using my baby cast iron skillet. And what I'm going to do is while that is heating up, I'm going to get my butter and I'm going to take the 2 tablespoons. This just happens to be 2 tablespoons that I have left. And I'm just going to put it in the pan, my cast iron skillet pan. And while my oven is heating up, I'm throwing the cast iron skillet in there with the butter in it so that my cast iron skillet gets hot and it melts that butter as the oven is heating up. I'm going to leave it in there until the oven heats up. That will ensure that it is hot and the butter is melted. You never want to put cornbread in a cold cast iron skillet because that crisp edge is what you want. So I'll be back. Now, while I'm waiting for my oven to heat up, I am going to stir my chili. Oh, I gotta show this to you. Okay, come on. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? This is lovely. Okay, you gotta go back so that I can finish stirring. And while I'm over here, I'm going to taste it and make sure my seasoning's still on point. Still good. Okay, so my oven just went off, so it is heated. So I'm going to now check my skillet to see if the butter is melted. Okay, see there? That butter is melted. That's what I want it to happen. The skillet is hot, hence my hot pad that I have on there. Now, this is now well rested, forced me to make it rest because my oven wasn't preheated. Other than that, I just don't have the discipline to make it rest because, well, I'm impatient. Let's just call it what it is. Call a spade a spade. I'm impatient. So now this extra butter that I have in here, I'm putting it in the batter. So I'm going to make a little spot over here and I'm going to just pour it down the side and then I'm going to stir it up into this batter. I don't know why I have a heating pad on here. It's not hot. I already love it because of that butter that is directly in there. It also loosens up that batter a little bit more. And pour it into the pan. And then I'm going to stick it in the oven until it's brown, about 15-20 minutes, until the top of it is nice golden brown. Stick a toothpick or a knife through the center of it. The knife will come out clean. Still hot. I'm going to stick this in the oven. I'll see you in 15-20 minutes. Also, periodically stir your chili for that 15-20 minutes. Go back, stir it about every 5 minutes. When your cornbread's done, your chili's done. You can eat it all at one time. One more thing. When you put the cornbread in there, turn your chili down to a simmer, no longer a boil, to a simmer, and let it simmer for the rest of the time that the cornbread's in the oven. See you at the tasting table. Welcome to the tasting table. So here's my chili. Here's my cornbread. Beautiful. See this edge right here? This is what I'm talking about. This is what you get from putting it in a hot pan. Now, I am weird and I eat my chili a little bit weird, what some people say. So this is how I garnish my chili. I like ketchup in my chili, so I like my chili slightly sweet. I don't put it in there when I'm cooking it because a lot of people don't like it. I have my mild cheddar cheese, shred it, put it on top, and then my corn chips. I put those on top. So, this is how I like to eat mine. I know I should have tasted it before I put all that in there, but you saw me do all my tastings here. I'm tasting a corner because I haven't stirred anything up. So here we go. I tasted a little bit of the ketchup, but it's great. So I'm going to stir all this up. The weather has now cooled down. It is now about 7 o'clock, and I have all the windows open because, of course, I don't have my air on because it's not getting that hot anymore. And so chili is perfect. This aligned up perfectly for Lexi's request. So I have this all stirred up, and I'm going to give you a bite, and I'm going to tell you what I think of my chili, the way I eat it. Here we go. I love this. I did not put enough red chili peppers to taste the spice. I love the sweetness that the ketchup gives me. I used to put fresh tomatoes in at the end. I stopped doing that because it threw people off when they bit into it of what it was, but I used to like that. If I would have thought about it, I probably would have done it this time since it's just me, but I don't always have fresh tomatoes on hand, so that's why I don't really do it. The cheese, well, everybody loves cheese in their chili. We already know what the cheese does to it. But look, I love the sight of this too. Look at that, how colorful that is. So let's taste the cornbread. Look at that. You see the texture in that? That looks so moist, doesn't it? It is. Let's taste this. Ah! This is what I was wanting. I don't know why this is making me so happy because I haven't had cornbread in a long time. That could be why. Um, the cornbread has a slight sweetness. It is not overly sweet. This does not taste like cake, but it has a moisture to it. I think as a kid, I didn't really like cornbread because I thought cornbread was dry. This is not. When you make it with cream, it gives it a more decadent, decadent. It gives it a more enriched taste. Yeah, I haven't been drinking and I couldn't even come up with that word, but it gives it a more enriched taste. So, how I like to eat mine is I like to put a bite on my spoon, then I like to go in to my chili. Some people put it directly in their chili. It makes it too soggy for me, and then I have a texture problem and I can't eat it. This is the perfect bite for me. Yes. As you can see, I have a full-size bowl this time with this, and I have another piece waiting because this piece isn't big enough for me because I'm going to eat dinner now since it is 7 o'clock. I hope Lexi, the cornbread's for you. Lexi, chili's for you. Janessa, chili's for you too because I know Lexi asked for it for you. I hope you guys try this. I did a lot of improvising when I was making it because I didn't have all the ingredients. But that is me when I cook. I cook with what I have in my pantry or in the fridge. So if you have any questions, let me know. You guys know how to get a hold of me. Just let me know. I hope you enjoy this. Please like, subscribe, and share. Also comment. Until next time, love with your heart, cook with your soul. My name's Nina. Bye.